Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Shonnie B, and I'm here bringing you guys this video about finding a preceptor. Going back to school to be a PMHNP. So this is from my experience. So most of these resources you can use if you are in school for like another type of nurse practitioner program, but some of them are specific to PMHNP students. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so let's talk about schools telling you that, some of them anyways, telling you that they would help you find a preceptor. So NP schools, as you guys know, when you are in NP school, you are expected to find your own preceptor. And that can be tough, especially if you are breaking into the psychiatric mental health field, and you haven't worked in psychiatry. So personally, I did get a job in psych before or around the same time I applied to the program. Okay, so some schools will help you find a preceptor, and they have you already set up. A lot of the brick and mortars are starting to get that reputation that they will actually set up clinical for you. And I'm not saying all the brick and mortars do that, but there's some that do that, and you have to really search to find those. Um, Most of the online schools, you have to set up your own clinical, your own preceptor. And then once you find your preceptor, you send them all the information, they approve it. And then once you get the okay and your preceptor gets approved, then you can say, okay, I'm done looking for this clinical rotation. So a lot of them will say, well, if you can't find a preceptor, then we will provide one for you or we'll help you find one. So well, thing about that is they'll give you a list of preceptors, right? So that list may or may not be current or updated. Typically, it's a list that of preceptors that previous students have used, and they just kind of keep track of them. And then when you say I can't find one, they send you that list. And so those preceptors may or may not still be precepting, and the information may or may not be updated. So, but it's a starting point, right? So that's one thing. Um, it's not a guaranteed way though. It you might, you have to do some legwork or some footwork if you do it that way because it's a long list. So you just have to call in or email or what have you to see if you can find a diamond in the rough. So and then some will actually find a preceptor for you, like literally, like say, hey, this is a preceptor. It's about 3 hours from you. However, if you cannot, make it happen, then you're back on your own. So it's not guaranteed. Um, so you might have to just take what you can get, or you might just have to keep on searching on your own. Um, so that's the problem with dealing with the schools to find your preceptor. And then next, so networking. So finding your own, not using the school's list, finding your own. So you can ask doctors, you can ask therapists, especially for your psychotherapy rotation. You can ask other PMHNPs that you know or you work with. There's a website called Psychology Today that you can also utilize to send messages to them to see if they'll precept. Sometimes you like when I did that, I didn't really get too much of a response back from anybody that I emailed, I think. I don't remember getting any responses back. However, there's some PMHNP groups that I'm on Facebook where people actually did get a response. So um, it's possible. It just didn't work for me. So, and then the next thing is your ENP network. It's a website, it's not yours, but it's an ENP network. Anyway. So on that website, you have your PMHNP associations, you have your nurse practitioner associations. You can email. So there's a tab on there that says find a preceptor, and you can click on there. It'll provide you an email of nurse practitioners that are willing to precept. Um, so for me, like I did use that website and I became a member of one of the PMHNP associations here in Texas. I don't know if I needed to in order to get in contact with this preceptor. I can't remember exactly. But I emailed about 2 or 3 to see if they would precept me, and actually heard back from 2 of them. One said that they weren't able to precept at this time. Another one said that she would love to do it, however, she hasn't been a PMHNP for, a year, and she was also traveling, so she was, like, traveling back and forth out, to Texas and to other states, so she wouldn't be an ideal candidate. However, she did recommend to me that um, to join these associations for PMHNPs and nurse practitioners to get on the site and become a member. And then she said what you can do is you can they hold like dinners to like host like different medical companies that will like try to like pitch a certain product or educate on certain things or what have you, and they'll host a dinner. The dinner is free, you just RSVP for it, and then while you're there you can network. So I'm like, oh great, that's awesome, right? Yeah, I haven't done it. I haven't done it because guess what, I am an introvert, so, and I'm shy and I don't like to do these things by myself a lot of times. So I haven't been. Maybe once I get finished with school, I'll go and try, just to meet other people. There was a organization on there. It's like it's in Texas. It's for like a first year support group, but it's a PMHNP association. So it helps for like new grads. So I did I join that one? I don't think I joined that one. I think I joined like the one that was for like all PMHNPs. But once I graduate, I will join that one too because I think that'll be nice to have that support there. Um, so yeah, so that is a possibility. I mean, I almost found one. Oh, and she recommended a a practice here in Texas for me. However, she gave me a warning, and I'm just going to say it. She said that, because of my name, my real name, um, they might not be as receptive to me precepting with them or whatever, but I can always reach out and, see what happens, right? So here's my story. I reach out and I'm like, hey, why do you say hey? I sent an email and I basically asked if they would are they precepting? And if they are, do they have any availability for, this semester, blah, blah, blah. Not this current one, but the one that I was looking for. And so I got a message back. And so I was like, what? So they gave me like their prices. It was like $10 per clinical hour. They told me like how they normally do things and all this stuff. So I'm like, bet. I'm like, this is cool. So I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, when it gets closer to the time, I'll send you over like, the paperwork and all that stuff. Well, not closer to the time that it started, but once I get all my, paperwork together, I'll send it over. And I did send it over. However, um, I didn't hear anything after that. And I was like, what the world? So I emailed them again, like, hey, my rotation is on this date. I need the paperwork in by that date. I attached, my paperwork, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Okay. So I told them the deadline that I had to have it in by. Why did I not hear from them until after the deadline? And they were like, oh, did you still need a preceptor? Da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, why I say it like that? But I'm like, yeah, I do. Well, no, I didn't say yeah. What did I say? I think I told them thanks, but no thanks. And they were like, because I had already found somebody else. And so I told them thanks, but no thanks. And then they kept calling me by my last name, even though I would sign it with my first name. So that bothered me. But then she was like, well, if you need a preceptor in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to help out. Okay, whatever. Needless to say, I didn't have to. And I'm glad I didn't have to because that was jacked up. Just because, like, if you're gonna say you're gonna do it, then do it. Or if you're not, just say no, and then that's fine. I can just move on. Which I end up moving on anyway, even though they didn't say, you know, no. So it was just annoying. So I think I already mentioned this, but I said um about the dinners and networking. So that was an APRN association. So that sets up these dinners. If you go on the EMP network, like you can find out what's local to you um, and what is available in your state. And if you're in Texas, you'll be able to see it as well. Um, and then I already told you guys about the PMHNP associations where you can get your first year support. That's in Texas, and they offer other resources as well. They do like a case, um, oh gosh, consultation thing and all that stuff. So it's a good thing to join some organizations and um once you graduate and stuff. And even now you can join. I joined one, like I said, I think it was like PMHPs like for Texas or something like that. Or students or something like that. I don't know. I joined one of them uh and then but I let it lapse because I was like, okay, I just need to focus on school right now so I can even make it to that. Okay. So then also on this network, so like I said, there's a preceptor directory and you're able to search them out and then that and send them your email or send an email to post your pitch or resume or bio. They also have it to where like precept people that are interested in precepting can also you know, put their information out there like, hey, I'm ready. I want to precept. Now, I think this is where I think I had to join because um, I don't think you can get access fully to that directory unless you're a member. So just FYI. But it is through the EMP network that you're able to join these associations and or organizations. So yeah. And I hope I'm not all over the place. I hope that this is helpful to you guys. This is what I use. This is like my experience. I'm not sponsored or there's no kickback for me to tell you guys about these sources or these companies I'm about to mention. I'm just telling you what I saw and what I found. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So the next set of third party preceptor matching companies that I'm about to list I've used two of them. One of them I haven't used, but I know it's available. I really want to like emphasize that I'm not. This is not an endorsement. I don't get any type of kickback. Like I'm just sharing my experience and with these companies, except for one of them because I didn't use that one. I just know about it. So number one, I used this company last for this fall, my final semester. So this is it's not in order from greater to least or anything like that. It's just how I labeled it, I guess, or how I put it on here. So anyhow, so NP Hub. So NP Hub I used this semester. I reached out to them about April, Mayish, and they have like little people, not little people, they have people that like message you back and like once you like reach out to inquire, um, I think they schedule something with you, but people like text you. Their representatives can text you too. So they tell you what they have available, what in your area, what hours and all that stuff. They don't give you the name of the preceptor. They don't give you like any information. You just get like they identify it by some type of like code or whatnot. And so then and they also tell you like how much it is per hour for that particular preceptor. So once I decided on one, they did offer me like they were like, well, this will be more affordable for you, blah blah blah, type of deal. So it wasn't like they were trying to push like high dollar amount on me for a preceptor. But nevertheless, so after that, I decided, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with them because I originally reached out to another company, which I'll talk about them here in a minute. But I didn't hear back from them, so I went ahead and tried NP Hub because I wasn't trying to have my graduation delayed. Like I need to get this done like ASAP, right? Well, by the end of this year, that's my graduation date. Um, so I decided on that, and then I had to pay. I want to say a third of what my total balance was, and so I want to say that was like 800 something dollars, 800 and I don't even remember. I know it was maybe 830 something dollars. 800. It was 800 something. That's all that matters. And um, so I was like, I paid the deposit, right? And then after that, I got all my information to send to my school. And then the rest of the balance, you could pay it all right then and there, or you could spread it out a little bit, which is what I ended up doing. And but the thing about it is, like, you can't stretch it out too much. It all had to be paid within that first like 4 weeks or so, because I think I paid the deposit like in May. I want to say I reached out in April, paid the deposit in May, and then by the end of May, I had, because they only, it's like once you get on their little website and you try to like stretch out your payments, it only lets you do it for so many weeks out. But it was all within that month, that May month. So yeah, so there's not a lot of flexibility there. So if you decide to go with NP Hub, like make sure you are able to pay it within that 4 week time frame or all at once. So yeah, so that was that. And then once I paid everything, um, my paperwork got filled out and sent back. Everything was good. So I was all set. And then they kind of stay in touch with you also throughout the process, which is really nice. And then as you get closer, they also stay in touch. And then they also make sure you are able to attend your first day and everything else. And so far, my preceptor experience, like I just started, has been awesome. I'm learning a lot. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm happy. Like I can't be happier. And I was really looking forward to this rotation because I didn't know, like, the way NP Hub listed it, it made it sound like it was a private office, like not an inpatient setting. And it actually is an inpatient setting. So it was cool because I've only done outpatient rotations up until this point. So I was like, oh, cool. I get a different experience. And it's one of the experiences that the school recommend that you have, but don't require that you have. So I'm excited about it. I'm learning a lot. So that's NP Hub. Nothing bad to say about them except for that they're just expensive. Um, and then I only know about this company because I researched. I haven't interacted with this company. I've read a couple reviews, but that's pretty much it. But it's called Preceptor Point. That's another resource that you can dig into and see if that fits your budget, or and read some reviews and see how other people have you know what their experience is with them. I didn't go with them, so I don't know. And it's not because of anything, I just didn't. And that plus MP Hub had like ads like everywhere. So, and then last but not least, this company was responsible for my first preceptor, and they were really responsive, and on top of that they were really affordable. So like I reached out, the I think it's like the person who founded the company, but anyway, she messaged me back and we were emailing back and forth about what I needed, how many hours I needed, like the whole nine. And when she told me who she told me the method, and then she introduced us through email. And then she also stayed kind of in touch with me and making sure that, me and my preceptor communicated and came up with schedules and all that stuff. So that was really nice. Cost wise, like I said, it was affordable. So initially you pay the deposit of $500, and then, which is also a certain percentage of your total, but I think for my first rotation was like 500. I want to say for my second one, it was the same thing, but I'm not sure. I'd have to pull receipts, but I didn't do that. So anyway, so it was 500. And then after that, after I paid that, then they filled out all my school paperwork. I sent it all over to them and to my school. My preceptor got approved. And then I had time to pay my balance. So from the moment that I paid the 500 up until the of the first day of the month of my rotation starting, I had to have it all paid. So I was able to make, payments or pay it off all at once or what have you, whatever worked. So that was nice. It wasn't like a tight um, time frame like MP Hub. It was you could actually stretch it out, which was really nice. Um, and I used this Match NP for two of my preceptors because one of them I used twice. The other one was for my psychotherapy rotation. So I really, I yeah. So yes, I used them like twice, and I was going to use them for a fall, but I don't know if something happened like in the company or whatever, because I reached out for a fall and then she said she would let me know, and then I never heard back. But everything went according to plan as far as my fall rotation, or not my fall, my summer rotation. So I didn't have any issues there. So you can still reach out to them and see what's what. I don't know if anything changed. There are more sites but I've heard of these and I've only used NP Hub, which I'm using them for the first time this semester, and Match NP, which I used my other 3 rotations. Um, and roughly, if you guys want to know what I paid like all together, oh, I'd say maybe like 7 to 8K for my preceptors. It's a lot. It's expensive. Some people don't want to, that's not something you want to do. You don't want to pay. I get it, but I didn't want to pay, but I also didn't want to delay my graduation at all. So I did what I had to do, and I got my rotations in. I did my clinicals on time. I didn't have any issues. So I don't know, but we're going to talk about that. When you're finding a preceptor, obviously free is best, right? However you decided to find a preceptor, you have to put in work, whether that's researching like these third party companies and making sure they're reputable, making sure other students had good experiences, or just finding out what the price range is and getting your dollars right. You're still gonna have to put in work. So it doesn't matter how you do it. Um, if you don't secure a preceptor by your school's deadline, you can delay your graduation. So I'm not pushing anybody to pay, but I'm just saying, like, if you're if you're thinking about starting school and to become a nurse practitioner, you might want to start early, trying to network and research out some preceptors, potential preceptors, just so that way once you like at that point, and stay in touch with them. So that way, when you're at that point where you need to fill out your clinical paperwork and all that stuff, you can reach out to them, they can do it and move forward. I just didn't want my graduation to be delayed. And my attempt at setting my own preceptor up, like, was not a great experience. Like, they you know, didn't respond to me. Like, I already told the story, but they didn't respond to me until after my deadline. And so if I had stopped looking, because once they told me yeah, then I would have been screwed. And then not only that, but like, even if I would have kept looking for other preceptors, nobody was really responding. So like, or to my emails or anything. So like, and I mean, some people have said they like actually go to the offices and all that stuff, or they call and things that they do in order to get a preceptor. But like, when you have things preventing you from doing that, do what you have to do. So, anyhow, there is debate about paying for preceptors versus preceptors being free. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate 100%. I will just tell you guys this reasons that people say it should be free. Okay. They're giving back to the community, the nursing community. And, it's like when you make it, you pull somebody up and, help them out, type of deal. You're giving back to your profession. They also get CE credit for precepting for their national certification renewal. They can add it to their resume. Um, and then they also know how hard it is for us students to find preceptors, and that school is expensive as it is. So, why not give it back, right? And these are just some things that I kind of seen online. Like, I get it. I understand, right? I understand 100%. And then paying for a preceptor is expensive, like, especially if you're going through a third party. And then if you don't go through a third party, some preceptors that you find on your own, they're still charging like at least $10 an hour. I don't think I've seen anything less than $10 an hour. So whether you go through, a third party NP matching company, or you go through the NP herself, she might be charging $10 for students as well, an hour or more. And then also, when you think about like, why should I pay them to precept me? Like, they have a lot to do in their regular, 9 to 5. And what I've noticed is that um, pre- uh, PMHPs or NPs tend to have more than one job. So, like, and if you count precepting as a job, even if they only have one main job, precepting makes it two. And also, you kind of like slow their productivity down just a little bit, because they have to like, explain things to you, or, be mindful that you're there and remember and to, if you're doing telehealth to tell their clients, but it could slow it down just a tiny bit, not a whole bunch, and especially if they're used to like precepting, they kind of figured out a flow, but they might not get, especially if they let you do things, they might not meet their normal time range of getting their assessments done or follow-up visits done. And then it also adds extra out or duties. So like getting on your schools, however you chart your encounters and your hours. So at my school, they have to approve my hours. They're doing my midterm and final evaluation. There are semesters where my clinical instructors will want to talk to them. So it's like setting that up or finding a time to set that up. And that has been so far it works out, but, like, it's especially if they're really busy, like, my one preceptor, like, she starts, like, super early, like, set like, 8 o'clock, and sometimes she'll go in, like, at 7:30 depending on, like, her client's, availability, so with that, like, it's just a tight schedule, right? To try to find time to like actually talk to, clinical instructors and do extra paperwork and stuff like that. And then I've heard like other schools also have like more processes or things that they have to do too. So it can be, a little time consuming. And so you, of course, people want to be compensated for their time, and that's understandable. I chose to pay due to my initial experience, which was trying to find it on my own, and having one bad experience was enough for me to be like, you know what? I just need a peace of mind. I don't want to be stressing about preceptors and emailing all these people. Like it was enough trying to handle a newborn baby, and my older kids, and then school, trying to juggle all of them with school and and working too because I had just started a new job. Like I was like, you know what? I don't want to stress about that. I just want to focus on school. So I personally chose to pay. And, you know, I understand both sides of I don't want to pay versus I don't mind paying. So um and I also had like, limited time to be out there like trying to stump the ground. I think at the time my baby wasn't even in daycare. So I would have had to put him in his little car seat and march into these little offices like, hey, I need a preceptor. They would have been like, that's not professional. He wasn't in daycare until gosh, it was I don't know, probably spring, maybe. No, maybe it was that fall or something like that. So anyway, um so yeah, my third party experience, it's been good. Like honestly, like my two preceptors, I learned a lot. They were able to answer my questions. I don't know why my hair's acting like this. Um, my current preceptor, like she's like awesome as well. Like I'm learning a lot. Even I just started clinicals this week, and I've already got so many nuggets of information and seeing a lot. Um, so I'm grateful for that. They actually took the time to like talk to me, ask me if I had any questions, and teach me different things. They encouraged me in my like critical thinking abilities. Um, they even like I had one preceptor like ask me like, well, what would you do in this situation, or what would you prescribe, or how would you go about handling this? And so those are things that get me thinking, right? So it wasn't like I paid all this money and they were just like, okay, like just sit there and don't do anything, or, they were rude or anything like that. I'm not saying I know anybody that had that type of experience. I'm just saying like it wasn't like that. It was like a really good experience for me as far as like dealing with the third party company. They made it pretty easy, although it cost some money. And then the preceptors were awesome. Um, and then also another thing about the third party. So there are clauses like if you book one or you start to pay for one and like that preceptor backs out, they will help you find, or not help you, but they will find you another one or refund you back the money. Like I said, I haven't had that experience. I used Match NP two times. Was it? One, two, no, three times. I used them three times. No issues there. This is my first time using NP Hub. I didn't have any issues. My preceptor was my preceptor from the time I said, yeah, I'm going to pay this money all the way up until now. So that's my experience with them. So like I said, I roughly spent about 7 to 8K for preceptors, including this fall semester. Like I had a peace of mind. I got my hours and experience. I'm graduating on time, and graduating on time was important to me. Like I didn't have a whole bunch of time to stretch out like my education. However you put in the legwork, however you choose to find your preceptor, um, just know that delaying is not a bad thing. If you can help it and not delay, that might be better. But I don't know your situation. My situation, I needed to. The whole reason why I decided to go back to school was I didn't really like the job prospects I had after I had my baby, and so I was like, well, I'm sitting at home anyway. Let me go back and further my education. But, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you in your pockets. So, nevertheless, I hope this video was helpful for you, if only to give you ideas for networking, or to like get you thinking about, your finding a preceptor and your rotations coming and all that stuff. Um, the debate if you should pay or not is a personal decision. Like, I hope in this video, I don't come across as like I'm pushing you to pay for a preceptor so you don't have to delay graduation. That is not the goal of this video. The goal of this video is to give you options or and tips about finding a preceptor and even a little support, right? Because there was those first year support groups that I found as well, and networking opportunities. So I've seen people say online they refuse to pay. um, it's possible to get your preceptor for free. You just have to start early. um, and with everything in NP school, start early. So that's assignments, that's finding a preceptor, that's um, you know, planning ahead financially, whatever. You want to start early with everything. So nevertheless, tell me what you think in the comments. If you thought this video was helpful, let me know. If you thought I was trying to be too pushy about paying, let me know. And if you are a part of that debate or you have an opinion about paying or not paying for your preceptor, let me know in the comments. And then also, if none of that applies to you or you rather not get into that debate or talk about preceptors, if you had clinicals already, if you want to share, how did you secure your preceptor? There's a lot of different ways to do it. These are just a few ways that I found. There's Facebook groups for finding preceptors. So, there's so many different ways to find a preceptor, but these are just a few that I used, resources that I looked at in order to get that email for that one practice. So, yes, I just wanted to share it with you guys. This is a video I've been talking about posting for a while. Um, Nevertheless, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and please comment.